Hey everybody, my name is Steven and welcome back to the Storytime channel. Without wasting any time, let's get into our stories of the day. Need a taxi? Not me, Gov. I'm a musician. I play in function and cover bands, doing weddings, parties, and so on in bars, hotels, pretty well anywhere where people ask us really, as long as they pay us and we consider we're likely to survive the experience. As I'm out working late at night and usually in licensed premises, I encounter a number of drunk, stupid, entitled people along the way. It's par for the course and they're usually not too much of a problem, but there are always exceptions. One evening some years ago, I was playing in a function room in North London. There were 2 bands booked that night, plus a DJ. Ours was a late finish. We were the final band on and our set began at midnight and ended at 3 in the morning. We played there quite regularly, so we knew the score. The gig itself went fine and everyone enjoyed themselves. We finished our set and packed up our gear, while the staff began to shoo the customers out and clear up the venue in preparation for closing. As it was the middle of the night, there were few, if any, buses or public transport running. Those who had not arrived in their cars had to find a taxi to take them home. There was always a queue of taxis outside the front doors, plus a scrum of people trying to get into them as there were never enough cars to go around. There was no queue, it was every man and woman for himself. The door staff did their best to try to keep order, but it was a bit of a melee. By the time we had packed away and were ready to load our kit into our vehicles, most customers had left, leaving the stragglers who had not managed to find a taxi. I left my equipment by the door just inside the venue and went to fetch my car from the car park across the street. As I play the bass, I have 2 large speaker cabinets. This was before the days of compact, lightweight bass amplification. 2 flight cases containing my instrument and amplifier, another case full of cables and accessories, plus a couple of lights and part of the PA system. I drove a Volvo Estate, about the only vehicle that would accommodate the amount of stuff I had to transport. I parked outside the front door and went in to collect my stuff. I wheeled the first of my speaker cabs out to find 3 people sitting in my car. I opened the tailgate, lifted the speaker into the vehicle and asked what they were doing there. "You're a taxi," came the reply. "Take us to Wholesome." "Sorry," I replied. "I'm part of the band. I need to load my equipment. Would you get out of the car, please?" "Don't give us that. You're a taxi. Now take us to..." I walked round to the passenger door, looked in and said, "Listen, mate. Take a look at my face. Ring any bells? You've been looking up at me on this stage for the last 3 hours. I'm in the band. Now get out of my car, please." "Don't fucking lie, you cat. You're a..." Realizing this was going nowhere, I went to the rear of the car and retrieved the pickaxe handle I keep there for emergencies. I went to the passenger door, opened it and told my new friends to get out and waved my little friend at them. "For the last time, I'm not a bloody taxi. Now get out or you'll get this." This had the desired effect. They got out, grumbling, and went back to the front door to wait for a taxi. I continued to load the car, bid goodnight to the door staff, got in and started the engine. As I did so, one of the 3 ran to the car. I quickly engaged the central locking. He pulled on the door handle. When it wouldn't open, he wrapped his arms over the roof and around the windscreen on the passenger side, shouting, "Take us to Harlesden, you cat." His friend headed towards the car, so I engaged first gear and eased forward. They stopped, but our hero clung on, kicking at the door and yelling. I increased my speed and swerved from side to side in an effort to dislodge him. He clung on, still yelling. He held on until they got to the end of the street, but I managed to throw him off by taking the sharp bend at the end of the road at speed. He fell in a heap in the road and lay there. I didn't bother to stop to find out if he was alright. The Lord watches over drunks and little children. Yikes, what would you have done if you're in this car and this person comes and latches onto your car and demands that you're a taxi? How do you handle that? Let me know in the comments below. Home invasion. After posting a story a few days ago, I thought of another one. This one took place when I was 13. I grew up in France and that's where I was living, on the first, US 2nd, floor of a nice Haussmann building. A building from the mid to late 1800s when a guy named Haussmann renovated Paris. One day, must have been on the weekend because I was home in the afternoon and not at school, the doorbell rings. I happen to be close, so I go and open the door. A woman is standing there. We'll call her Karen. Hello? I say, not recognizing her. She pushes me out of her way and walks in. I'm startled because I'm not used to strangers touching me, especially shoving me like that. But I figure she is a friend of my parents. At the time, I'm a pretty awkward teenager and don't dare ask her any questions. She looks around, sees the couch we keep in the entrance for putting our shoes on or taking them off, and sits on it with a sigh. I go get my dad, who was in the shower but fortunately finishes up after hearing the doorbell. I knock on the bathroom door. He opens, mostly dressed except for his shirt and drying his hair. "Who was at the door?" he asks. "It's a woman, I don't know her," I explain. "She didn't say who she was and just walked in." I'm trying to be calm, but he can tell I'm shaken up. "She did what?" My dad is looking pretty annoyed at this point, and I realize he's not expecting any friend after all. He puts a shirt on and walks to the entrance, and I wait in the hallway out of sight. I'm too embarrassed to show my face again, but I want to know what's going on. "Hello, what can I do for you?" my dad says, polite but definitely upset. "Hi, I have an appointment," she answers. "You have an appointment in my home that allows you to just walk in past my daughter without introducing yourself?" he asks, his annoyance rising. I hear Karen huffing and gasping. "Well, you shouldn't let your daughter answer the door then. I thought she was the receptionist." "We don't have a receptionist in our home. Do you? Please go away." "But I have an appointment." "I don't know who you have an appointment with, but it's not us. Get out." There is a silence, then, "You mean this isn't the lawyer's?" My dad takes a deep breath. "No, it isn't. You can tell because there was no plaque on our door, and the intercom downstairs clearly says they're on the floor above us, which I'm sure they also told you when they let you in the building. Now, get out." Then I hear the door open and close, and my dad walks back to me and pats me on the shoulder. "Next time it's someone you don't recognize, tell them the lawyers are upstairs," he says, and I make sure I do. Over the next few years that I lived there, people kept ringing at our door, but fortunately nobody else ever forced their way in like this. At the time, I had no idea there was a lawyer's office above our place, so this was a really weird experience. I would be shocked and so uncomfortable if somebody just tried to push past me into our household. I would be like, "What's going on, dude?" Honorary Walmart employee. This happened a couple of years ago after Thanksgiving. I had taken my car to the auto section in Walmart to get the oil changed and a couple of other things checked, but the wait time was incredibly long. I didn't have anything to do except walk around Walmart for a couple hours, so I eventually found myself walking around the game and toy section. My closest friends go to different colleges all over the United States, but we always meet up during Christmas and summer breaks to hang out and play board games. As I was looking for a new board game to try out that Christmas, I almost tripped over some toy a kid must have left lying around. I'm the kind of person that hates putting random items on random shelves, so I looked for where the toy came from and replaced it. I then noticed a bunch of toys weren't in their correct sections, as in basically the entire toy section, so I started putting them where they belonged. It wasn't like I had anything else to do. Imagine my surprise when the employee in charge of the toy section walks into the aisle I'm in and asks if I'm new. I laugh and explain that I was just bored. The look on her face when she realizes I'm just doing this labor for free is priceless. We talk and eventually work through all the aisles, and I congratulate her on a job well done. She grins at me and walks back to the first aisle. Now I see why nothing is ever in their correct place in department stores. Some invisible gremlins have managed to destroy all our hard work within the hour we spent cleaning the rest of the section. A look through the rest of the aisles reveals that they are all in some state of disarray, with a couple of kids playing in one of them. "Yep," she tells me. I basically cycle through this one section because it is never fully tidied. I sympathize with her and get back to work. A few minutes later, a coworker comes to ask her if she could help him with something, and my new friend asks if she could leave for a couple of minutes to take care of it. I say of course, and they leave, though the second worker gives me a confused glance until they're out of sight. During this time, I help a parent decide on a tricycle for his son, and a little girl found the doll set she wanted to give to her friend. The tricycle dad even thanked me and any of my coworkers for working during the Christmas rush, as he's apparently been to several stores getting presents for his kids and his second grade class, and everyone has been quite helpful. When my worker friend returned, my car was ready and it was time for me to go. I passed on the thanks from the dad and she laughed, finding it cute that he never even realized I didn't work there. She dubbed me her honorary assistant, and I saw her a couple more times that season. She doesn't work there anymore, but she added me on Snapchat and we chat every once in a while. I wasn't sure if this counted since there's no Karen or anything, just wholesome confusion. Of course, I still return items to the correct places and stores. These guys need all the help they can get. If there's one thing I heard that stinks about working in retail, it's always about these items that were placed in wrong or absolutely wrong positions and having to go and return these things all over the place. So a big kudos to OP here. Wholesome, I don't work here lady. So I go to a venture school in New Zealand called Tahoe. Google it. Basically, it's a school in the outdoors and we do outdoorsy stuff like that. Anyway, a primary school that's in close relationship with the school that runs this program, is it a sister school? Please tell me, comes in for a tour. An important thing to note is that I went to that school for 9 years. It went from 0 to 8 and asked if I could help with the activities that they do. The director was chill and gave the okay. I chatted with the teachers when they arrived and helped the tour that our tutors gave. They went into the activities in different groups. My job was to help the kids with orienting, kind of like a full campus scavenger hunt. Us Tahoe students had just done this hunt, so I knew half the places. I should note I'm 6'2" and have a beard at 14. Runs in the family, so no, the beard is not big. Now onto the I don't work here lady. Along with the teachers, parents of kids were there too. Some parents knew me, others however didn't have a clue. One of the parents went up to me and the conversation ensues. "It's very nice of you to help these kids." Excuse me? Pretty caught off guard. "Well, I'm sure you need to do a lot of preparation for the boys' outdoor days." Well, usually tutor name preps most of it and we just get packed and head off. "So you don't get a briefing or anything like on where to go or what you need to make the students do?" Me finally realizing, "Oh, you think I work here? Sorry, I'm just a student." "Oh, sorry, rubs her chin referring to my facial hair. "Made me think that." "Don't worry, you're the nicer one of the bunch who thinks that." Some bad stories for different days. I then explained to her why I'm helping out, we both share a good laugh, and go on our day. I did meet kind of a Karen the same day, but we will see how this post goes. I'm just glad that it's a positive story and not the wild Karen story that it very well could have been. I'm sorry, I don't understand you. So early today, I was out getting supplies. You know, the usual, toilet paper and food. As I was getting some milk, an older lady walked up behind me and did the long-awaited, "Excuse me." I don't think much of it because I was one of the many people in the aisle. She repeated the phrase again, and I turned around and accidentally made eye contact. Huge mistake. She starts going off on me about how unprofessional I was and how I was wasting her time. Mind you that I haven't spoke this entire time. Then she stomps off. So I think it was the end of this whole thing. But boy was I wrong. Later, she came back with the manager. Mind you that the store employees wear black pants and a blue dress shirt. I was in black sweatpants and a blue t-shirt with a black large game logo on it. She starts lying to the manager about how unprofessional I was and how I needed to be fired. Now me, still not saying anything, hatched a terrible but amazingly beautiful idea. Now I have some friends who live in Germany, so I know a thing or two. I started saying gibberish such as "Hatten Bescheid gesagt," and the look on her face was priceless. The manager was shocked. The lady walked/ran away, and the manager apologized a lot. Or at least tried to. I looked at him, grabbed my milk, and said in English, "Do you like 1% or 2% milk better?" We had a good laugh and went on our merry way. I wish I could have seen the expression on that lady's face when he busted out some random German. Sounds like it was a frantic moment for both the lady and the manager. But with that being said, that's all the stories we have for today. So what I want to know is which of these stories was your personal favorite and why? Let me know which story piqued your interest the most in the comments below. And thank you all so much for watching and listening to the Storytime channel. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and don't forget to turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. Thank you all again for watching and listening to the Storytime channel.